All right, good morning. Today we are moving on to CO14, still working with our fractions. I can locate a fraction on a number line and know its value relative to 0, half, and 1. So you can think of this objective as estimating the value of a fraction. So estimating means we don't know for certain, we're not doing the complete math, we're just saying it's about here. So a quarterback who completes 25 over 44 of his passes completed about half of his passes. So if we look at that 44, half of 44 is 22. That 25 is super close to the 22, so we know it's about half. It's not exactly half, but a little over half. Eating 3 out of 90 M&Ms is eating almost none of them, because between 0 and 90, 3 is super close to 0. So it's almost none. It's not exactly 0, but it's close to 0. And getting 35 out of 36 on a test is getting almost all of them correct. We're almost at that one whole, 36 out of 36. We're just shy of it. So it's really close to that one whole. So we're using 0, half, and 1 for our estimations, because they're common values that are easy to visualize. So when we need to put our fractions in order from least to greatest, we can use that 0, half, and 1 when we order fractions without having to go through all of the math of, well, I need them to have common denominators, and I need to multiply the numerator and denominator by that same scale factor. It takes a lot of time. So this is a way to look at it, to compare our fractions without having to do a ton of work. So we're going to practice it, putting our numbers. For this one, we're gonna say whether each fraction is closer to 0, a half, or 1, and we're going to explain how we know. So let's look at how we're going to do that. So if we have 7/8, do you think that's closest to 0, a half, or 1? Thinking about what we were just talking about. Michael, your whole body should be facing this way. Thank you. Alex?
1.
Why would it be closest to 1? Because 1 whole is 8 out of 8. So I'm going to put that on there. 8 out of 8. So it's closest to 1. So let's look at 4/40ths. Is 4/40ths closest to 0, half, or 1? What do you think, Presley?
0.
Why 0?
Because 1 whole is equal to 40, so 4 is really close to 0 because it's not close to 40.
Yeah, that 4 is really close to 0/40ths. Let's look at 11/18ths. What do we think about 11/18ths? Jack?
Maybe a half.
Why a half?
Because 11 is kind of between 0 and 18.
What is a half of 18?
6.
9. So halfway mark would be 9/18. That 11 is really close to our 9. Right? It's closer to 9 than it is to the 18. So it's closest to a half. Does that make sense on how we're doing that? So you're putting the fraction that it's closest to. Is it closest to that 1? Is it closest to the 0? Or is it closest to that halfway mark? So you're going to do that for the next 2 rows. Then it says place each fraction below in its appropriate place on the number line. So the 0 and the 1 are a little bit easier. The halfway, we have to say, is it a little bit more than a half or a little bit, excuse me, thank you. Is it a little bit more than a half or a little bit less than a half? Where would it fall on that number line? So if we look at our first fraction, 28/50. First thing we have to decide, is it closer to 0, a half, or 1 whole? What do you think, Joy? A half, because what is a halfway? 25 over 50. So where would I put this on my number line? Before the half or after the half?
A little bit after that.
Yeah, because that 28 is bigger than the 25. So I know it's close to the halfway, but I'm going to put it just over that halfway. Because 28 is more than 25. So you always want to check which side do we want to put it on. Is it going to be a little less or a little bit more of each of our marks? So you're going to do the same with 8 9s, 2 11s, and 8 18s. Decide, is it closest to a half, a 0, or 1? And which side on that number line is it going to go? We will see this again on the test. So it is important that we understand how to put it on the number line, okay? If you want to check, after you've done it, come to me and we can check to see if you're doing it correctly. The second page, we're gonna see something like this on our test. So we really need to understand how to fill this in. So again, we're going to be looking at that 0, half, and 1. And we need to think, what do we fill in on our fraction to make it closest to 0, closest to a half, or closest to 1, but not equal to? So we're not going to put something that would make it actually a 0 or actually the halfway mark, just close to it. So if we want to be close to the 0, what do you think we could put as our denominator if our numerator is 32? What do you think, Rhoda?
100.
Yeah. I might even go bigger than that, just to make it really obvious, because we don't want to accidentally be close to the halfway mark. I would put 1,000. 32 thousandths is definitely going to be close to the 0. What?
You can make the bottom like as big as.
Yes, make the bottom super big. When you want it to be close to 0, you want the numerator to be small, the bottom to be huge. Okay. Now, if we want 32 to be close to the halfway mark, what do you think we should put, Jack? 60. Perfect. Now, Jack got a little, ooh, I know the halfway would be 32 over 64. So, I need to pick a number that's close to 64, but not actually 64. So he had to think for a minute, what number is close to 64, but not 64? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So 32 over 60 is close to halfway. Because that 60, halfway would be 30 over 60. 32 is close to it. So now we're at 1 whole. What do we want to put for our denominator to make it really super close to 1 whole? What do you think, Haley?
30.
30. 32 30ths is just over 1 whole. Perfect. So we worked on how those denominators should look. Now let's look down to see what we do when they give us the denominator and we have to fill in a numerator. So we have to shift the way we're thinking just a little bit. Still comparing it to 0 and a half and 1. What over 25 would be really close to 0? Presley. So just like when we were filling in the denominator, we did a huge number on bottom. When we're filling in the numerator, put a 1. Okay, we put 1,000 up here, put a 1 to get it close to 0. What about the halfway mark? What do you think I could put for the halfway? What do you think, Rhoda?
15.
Yeah. What is half of 25? It's 12 and a half. So we want a number that's close to that halfway mark. So half of 25 is 12 and a half, 15 is close to 12 and a half. Now we want to make our numerator be super close to one whole. Jude?
23.
23. 23 is really close to that 25. Okay. On the test, you're going to have to do it both ways, filling in denominators, filling in numerators. So you need to remember what it should look like as denominators and numerators. Okay. So you're going to practice that second row and that last row, trying to make your fraction look close to 0, your fraction look close to a half, and your fraction look close to one whole. Again, come check in with me. I've got my answer key and we can see if you're doing it correctly. You come check in with me, otherwise I'm going to think that you know what you're doing. Come check in. Okay? Then at the bottom, we have our review, because on the test, we're going to have to know what to do for all the objectives we've done before this one. So we're going to review them. So you're going to write 2 equivalent fractions. If you don't remember what equivalent fractions are, what should you do? Jude?
Go back to the lesson.
Go back to your objective on equivalent fractions. Just flip back until you find up at the top where it says equivalent fractions. And that will remind you, writing in simplest form, simplify, simplify, simplify until you can't get any smaller. Converting mixed numbers and improper fractions, we just did that yesterday. So practice it. Oh my goodness, look at that. Going back to subtracting, adding, multiplying, and dividing. That was quite a while ago. Go back to those beginning objectives, because even though we're done with Unit 1, we still need to remember how to do that math. So go back, use your number line with that adding and subtracting. Remember the rules with multiplying and dividing, like and unlike signs. Rounding. Oh, I still have people doing that retake from the test. Go back and look at that objective if you don't remember how to do it. So we will need to remember stuff from Unit 1 as well as what we're learning from Unit 2. So look back at previous objectives, come up and check in with me to make sure you're doing it correctly. Any questions? It's one thing to just go quickly through your math and then we correct it tomorrow and you go, oh, I got a bunch wrong. Well, if you're getting a bunch wrong, are you learning it? No. You might have done it quickly and you got checked off on the homework. Yeah, I did my homework. But are you going to pass the objective on the test? No. You're going to have to do the practice work again. You're going to have to do the retakes. It's actually going to take more of your time if you're not learning it the first time around. Use class time to come and ask me questions. Use class time to come up and check to make sure you're doing it correctly. We want to learn it. Okay? We don't want to just whip through it and say we're done. We want to learn it. If you finish with the work for today, we have Khan Academy due next Tuesday. We have packet number 2 due next Tuesday. We have practice works for our retakes on Friday for those of us that are still doing retakes. So make sure you're working on your math. If you have all of that done, you're practicing those mysteries of the rosary, getting checked off on that. If you're done with that, then you can check in with me. Miss Maddie, it was your responsibility to watch the time. Oh, no, it's not you. It's 9:30, sorry. My bad. Hello, this is Kate.